I'm Judy Shaw for NYSE Floor Talk. Joining me today is Hua Fung Teh. He is co-founder and group president at One Championship. Hua Fung, it is wonderful to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
It's a pleasure. So now, Hua Fung, you just had your debut event in Colorado earlier this year and announced 4 more live events this year.
Right.
So talk to me about your U.S. strategy.
Yeah, look, the U.S. is a really exciting market for us. It is the world's largest and most sophisticated sports market. So even though we are based all the way in Asia, this is a key area of focus. But interestingly, even before the Denver event, which was on May the 5th, by the way, it's a great event, sold out, broke all records on Prime Video. But even before that event, we already had media and streaming in the US for some time. We signed a partnership with Amazon Prime Video last year. We've been streaming on that platform now for a year. So US fans actually have been watching our content Friday nights, US prime time on Prime Video. Most of those events are produced Asia mornings to service US evenings, but that Denver event was the first time we actually brought it to the US. And boy, were we, even I was surprised. I knew it would do well, but we completely sold out. The atmosphere was electric. So I think, look, we always knew we had the right to play in the US, and I say that because, even before we came here, we're already established, right, in the combat sports space. We're the world's largest martial arts organization per Nielsen. We're actually Asia's largest sports media property as well, sports league, if you will. So we always knew we had a right to play because, look, martial arts, MMA, etc., is already established in the US, thanks to what the UFC's been doing, right, for 30 years. But I think, just the smashing success of Denver just showed me and showed all of, my team that we have a right not just to play, but to win. So look, the strategy going forward really is to continue building audience. And over time, we will have more and more events, right? So in terms of media audience, today we have 12 events, right? US prime time, 12 events a year on Prime Video. I think that event streaming footprint will increase and the physical footprint will increase as well, right? We've announced, 4 events next year. We're in active discussions with multiple host cities, multiple partners. So yeah, I'm excited.
All right, so now let's talk about your plans to grow in Qatar and the Middle East.
Yep.
Tell me more about that, and why are you expanding in that region now?
Look, I think, well, first of all, the nice thing about our sport is that it is widely, practiced and loved by many people all over the world. It's not like some sports, for instance, American football, that is hugely popular in the US, but has very limited popularity, outside the US. So martial arts, as a sport, first of all, it's loved everywhere. So theoretically, we can really kind of look at any kind of big part of the world, as a potential expansion market. Now, the Middle East is very interesting. It is a big region. GCC alone accounts for 60 million people, and there's big countries like Egypt, that have over 100 million people. So it's a big region, generally young population, very digitally savvy. And people forget the Middle East actually has a long history of martial arts as well. Countries like Jordan, countries like Egypt, have produced, world championship caliber martial artists in judo and taekwondo. These are people that have medaled, in the Olympics or world championships. So that, tells you that this is a ripe area for expansion. Our Middle East expansion really, started in Qatar a few years ago with an investment by the Qatar Investment Authority. You fast forward a couple of years, we're partners today with beIN Sports, which is also Qatar owned. Our MENA region broadcast rights are with beIN Sports. We have a partnership with Qatar Media City, one of the leading media development authorities of the region, to basically bring our content to Qatar and eventually expand into the Middle East. So we have started with general entertainment. So we have our own version of The Apprentice, season 2 of which was actually produced partly in Qatar. And we're now actually going to start bringing live events to Doha as well.
So you would say that you're seeing a demand for combat sports in the Middle East?
For sure, yeah. There's definitely demand for combat sport. Like I said, the Middle East has produced, many athletes in various, a variety of martial arts, taekwondo, judo. There's a huge demand. The sport tends to lean relatively young, and it tends to be very easily enjoyed by mobile savvy people. Because think about it, right? It's close quarters, it's very easy to understand, it's very consumable, it's bite-sized, it's snackable. You don't have to wait, like in a soccer game, you have to wait 90 minutes for a conclusion. In a martial arts event, there's 10 to 12 bouts, 10 to 12 fights, right? So you have 12 conclusions, right, in a couple of hours. So it's very, I guess it's very suitable for young, mobile savvy consumers.
So let's talk about your financial strategy. Tell me, what is your financial strategy going forward?
The business strategy really from the start was to just build a very big platform. Internally, we have a moniker called RFE, reach, frequency, and engagement. Reach, how many eyeballs are you reaching? Frequency, how frequently are they tuning in? How frequently are they clicking on a video, right, when it shows up on your feed? And engagement, are they liking, sharing, are they gossiping? How many hours on terrestrial are they watching, right? So the entire company's approach for the first, call it decade, was really to build RF&E. Now to do that, obviously you need a great product, right? You need basically great production, creative sensibilities, you need to sign top athletes, you need to go country by country, broadcaster by broadcaster, and get distribution. It is a slog, right? But the business strategy, it's like a theme park, right? Before the theme park is built, you can't do much with it in terms of monetization, but you have to build it first. So that's how we liken our journey. The first 10 years was building the asset, building reach, and that required us on the financial side to leave money on the table sometimes, because often when you say do a media rights deal in a particular region, it requires you to go exclusive, right, with a TV network or an OTT platform, and then ends up putting you behind a paywall with limited audience too early in your journey. So what we generally have done is to enter non-exclusive arrangements in multiple countries to get our content everywhere. We want to be ubiquitous. We want to be on your mobile device, on your TV, on your tablet, whatever the case may be. So that was the first 10 years. But now that we're at scale, what you talk about, just use a metric like social followers. Today we have 75 million social followers, right? We're talking about top 5 ranking per Nielsen in terms of largest audience for global sports properties around the world. We're only ones from Asia, actually. So we're at scale now. So now is when you start monetizing the asset. And the good news is in some ways, we're not really inventing a new industry. Sports and sports media has been around forever. So we're talking about media rights, sponsorship. We're talking about hosting fees. Formula One has built a big franchise around hosting fees, i.e. going to countries and getting government and local promoters to sponsor, right? Them bringing an event to that country. But because we are an IP business, we also have a huge fan-facing side of the business as well. Selling merchandise directly to fans, selling digital assets. We just signed a blockchain gaming deal, with Animoca to make games. But the only reason why we can do this today, license the brand, monetize the brand, is because we spent 10 years basically leaving money on the table, right? And getting our content everywhere. And look, I think we're very fortunate to have a list of blue chip investors who understood what we were doing and basically bankrolled, right, that strategy. So now we're in the monetization phase of the business. Obviously, the business, in terms of its reach, its frequency, and its engagement, will continue to grow. That's going to keep growing, right? And that's actually growing organically now. We spend almost nothing on marketing, But on the monetization piece, I think now, because we're really starting to enjoy the operating leverage of the business, every dollar that we win falls to the bottom line because the asset, the IP, is already there, right? Like when I do this game licensing deal, it's no capital outlay on my side. It's a license. I license the brand for someone to actually invest and make a game. So now that we are really kind of enjoying the benefits of true operating leverage, like all mature sports properties enjoy, the NBA, the NFL, the UFC, we can now focus on the final phase, which is profitability. So right now, me and my team are very focused on driving the company to profitability. We have come on record to say that we are targeting group profitability in 2 to 3 years. But parts of the business will be profitable first. I think the US will remain an investment market for us just because the size of the prize is so huge. So we're going to continue investing in the US. But the ex-US business will be profitable within 2 years.
So do you think you'll take the company public at some point, and is a US listing on the table?
Public listing has always been part of the plan. To be honest, we haven't focused that much on it because our last round was raised not too long ago, end of 2021. So really the focus from then till now has been putting that capital to good use. So it's really heads down running the business. But yeah, I think a listing has always been part of the plan. And the US would be, I think, a natural destination, if you ask me. Once again, I think we're open-minded, right? Let me not answer that question prematurely, but I think the US would be a high potential destination.
Hua Fung, wonderful to talk with you. I really enjoyed this. And thanks for joining me on Floor Talk.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed this too. Thanks for having me.